everyone, welcome back to Get Your Mind Right Barbecue. I'm Tommy D. Thanks for tuning in today. Well, the summertime's officially here. It's Memorial Day weekend. You're going to be inviting your friends over, your family over. We're going to be having barbecues all summer long. But if we're going to cook that fantastic meat and have some barbecues, you have to have some good sides to go with them. And when I think of barbecue, I think of one side. I think about baked beans. Yes. It's not a real barbecue unless you have some good old baked beans. And that's what we're going to be doing here today is some Southern style baked beans. We're going hog wild over beans and barbecue. It's time to get your mind right. I'll meet you at the stove. Let's get it going. Before we get into this delicious recipe, do me a favor. Click my icon in the bottom right corner so you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Give me a thumbs up. We like the comments down below. I hope you're enjoying these videos. Get your mind right. First things first, you got to start off with a good skillet or a good aluminum pan. Now you can use aluminum pan today. I'm fortunate enough I got a 12-inch cast iron skillet. And if you've ever cooked on a cast iron skillet outside, you know that there's a big difference in between them as far as the flavor goes. You just cannot beat them the way they hold the temperature. We're going to go outside and smoke these beans, add a lot of flavor to them. We're going to keep them uncovered. But if you do not have a smoker, you can also bake these in your oven. This recipe will work either or. I'll meet you over at the stove. Let's get this recipe going. All right, we got our cast iron skillet on the stove. We're running this about a medium heat. First things first, we're going to start off with some bacon. We want to brown this bacon. I'm using a thick cut bacon. So what I'm using today is about a half a pound. And what I did is just chop those up. And basically all you want to do is you just want to stir it up and you want to brown this bacon as you normally would at breakfast time or any other time. And what we're looking for is we're looking for all this fat in this bacon to render down. And once we get that bacon rendered down, 3 or 4 minutes max, we don't want to cook them all the way done yet because we're going to add an onion. Okay, as you can see, it's been about 3-4 minutes. I've just been browning this bacon right up in the pan over medium heat. We're going to add 1 large onion. You can use red onion. Today I'm using Vidaya's sweet onion. You want to chop those up real nice and fine. Just add those to your bacon. And the main thing is you want to put the bacon in first. You don't want to add both of these at the same time. The reason being, as you can see, we got all that fat from the bacon. It's going to saute these onions down and add a lot of flavor to these onions. So just give them a good stir, and we want to cook these until the onions turn white, kind of translucent, where they turn clear. All in all, it's going to take just a few minutes, and this is why I like using this skillet. I can saute and brown these onions and bacon up, and I don't have to move this over into an aluminum pan. If I were using an aluminum pan today, I would have to take all this ingredients out and put it into a pan. This is real simple because I can just add all my beans and the rest of the ingredients for the smoked baked beans right on top of this. Okay, it's been about 5 to 7 minutes. The bacon is crisping up. Those onions are nice and translucent. They've sauteed up. I'm going to turn the stove off. I'll meet you back over at the table and we'll get the rest of the ingredients in. All right, we're back at the table. It's time to add the rest of the ingredients. We got the bacon, we got the onions ready to go. This recipe is super easy, folks. It only takes about 10-15 minutes to prep and about 3 hours out on the smoke. Start off with some baked beans. I got 2 cans of 28-ounce Bush baked beans. We're just going to add those right to the top. Make sure you get all the beans out of your can there and scoop them out. What I like to do is I like to drain a majority of the juice out of these cans before I dump them in my pot. It's kind of hard to get all of the juice out. Make sure you don't mash your beans. You want the beans to stay formed. So make sure you get as much as you can out of there. If not, no big deal. It's not going to harm anything. Next up is good old barbecue sauce. You can use any barbecue sauce you could like. I usually use Sweet Baby Ray's for this recipe. You can use whatever's on sale as well too. Kroger had these big bottles on sale. It tastes just like Sweet Baby Ray's. We're going to do about 3/4 of a cup of good old barbecue sauce. 3/4 of a cup. And I'm just measuring these out as I go. Next up, good old yellow mustard. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of yellow mustard. You can use Dijon mustard if you would like. I just like using regular old plain. Yellow mustard, about 2 tablespoons worth there. Next would be brown sugar. You can't make good southern baked beans without some good old dark brown sugar. I like to use the dark, gives it a real good color and a lot of flavor, makes them a little bit more sweet. We're going to add about a half a cup, give or take, of good old brown sugar, dark brown sugar. All right, now that we got our half a cup of brown sugar in, it's time to add some apple cider vinegar. This is really going to give it a good tart taste to it and kind of cut some of that sweetness off that we've added to it. We're going to go exactly about a quarter of a cup of cider vinegar. Molasses, you got to add some molasses to these beans. It's going to sweeten it up, it's going to darken it. If you don't have molasses, you can use syrup. Maple syrup will work well, or you can just add about another quarter cup to a half a cup of brown sugar to substitute the molasses. I know some people don't carry this in their kitchen, but we're going to add 2 tablespoons of good old dark molasses. Don't that look good? Okay, next up I'm going to add some flavor to these beans. And you can use whatever barbecue rub you're using on your meat or whatever you have in your pantry available. I like to use something that's got a little sweet, a little heat to it. And today I'm using Lane's Barbecues. This is the Magic Dust. I think they just switched the name to this and they call it Spellbound now. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's called Spellbound. But this stuff is great. We'll add about 2 tablespoons of your favorite barbecue rub. Okay, now that we got all our ingredients in, we just want to give it a good stir and combine everything up. You don't want to overwork it. You just want to make sure everything's blended up real good. And man, this is smelling great. And I can't wait to get this out on the smoke. We got one more step. Once we get all this combined up in the pot, we're going to add some bacon to the top. One last step. We'll get these beans ready and we'll get them out on the smoker, but we're going to add some more thick cut bacon. So I bought a pound of bacon. We used half a pound when we browned it up in the skillet. I cut up little cubes, like 1-inch cubes of the other half a pound. So all in all, we're going to use 1 pound of bacon. And all I'm doing here is just adding some good old bacon, some thick cut bacon all over the top of these. And this bacon's going to caramelize out there on that smoke. It's going to take in a lot of flavor from the smoke. And these beans are going to be fantastic. All right, once we get all our bacon on, don't that look good? It smells good. I'm just going to have one more light shake of that rub that we used before, this Magic Dust, or whatever rub you like to use. That way it kind of browns up and it gives a good appearance on the top of that bacon. Now that we got everything ready to go, we need to get it outside and get some smoke incorporated onto these beans. Now again, you can cook these in your normal oven. Run them at 325 for 2 hours exactly. Outside, if you're going to cook it on a grill or a smoker, you could cook these on any smoker you would like. Just make sure you set it up in direct heat. Okay, run it around 250, 275. And on the smoker, we're going to be running them for about 3 hours total time. I'll meet you outside. Let's get these Southern style baked beans on. We're going hog wild over beans and barbecue. Let's get outside and get some smoke rolling. Get your mind right. All right, we're outside. I got my Southern style smoked baked beans on my Camp Chef ZG model smoker today. I'm using cherry pellets from B&B charcoal. You can use whatever wood you would like. I like cherry, pecan, or hickory when it comes to the baked beans. I'm going to be running these at 250 for 3 hours. I'm not going to put any foil or put the cover on this kettle. We're going to keep them exposed. We want all that good flavor from that cherry wood to get down in these beans. It's going to take about 3 hours at 250. It's going to render down that bacon and give it some real nice color. I'm not going to stir them. We're going to keep them in the pot and let them roll. If you're cooking these inside in your oven, don't cover them up as well. Run them at 325, like I said earlier, for about 2 hours, and that's going to render that bacon down and get it nice and crisp. All right, we're back inside. It's been 3 hours. The beans are done. They've been on the smoker for 3 hours at 250 degrees. They smell fantastic. They look great. If you could zoom in here, babe, too, and show them what we're working with. They turned out fantastic. We got some caramelization with the onions, the bacon. One thing I want to remind you guys is to drain the grease off from the bacon that you cook in your skillet. That'll make the beans a little bit runny if you don't. But I forgot to add that to the video, so make sure you note that as well. Okay, I can't wait any longer. I'm starting to get hungry. These beans smell great. Let's give them a taste. Friends, it's time once again to let the big dog eat. Let's get a scoop in here. If you can come on in, babe, too. You can just see those beans. These things are piping hot. Get a little bit of the bacon in there with it. Scoop that up. Let's try these Southern style barbecue smoked baked beans. Unbelievable. You can really taste that smoky flavor versus cooking in the oven. You can cook these in the oven, but you're not going to get that good flavor from smoking them out on your smoker. It really makes a big difference, especially in a cast iron skillet as well. You can taste that brown sugar. You got the sweetness. You still get a little bit of tart from that cider vinegar. These beans are dynamite, babe, too. I cannot wait for you to try these. Next time you have a barbecue or a cookout, you've got to try these Southern style, get your mind right, barbecue baked beans. When I was a kid, we had burgers, we had hot dogs, we had chicken, we had all the fixings. But there's one thing in my family that we always did. Whenever we did hot dogs on holidays, around the pool, and around with family, we had a good old bean dog. So you get you a scoop of baked beans here, put it right on top of the dog. Man, oh man, you talking about good. Now it's time to let the big dog eat. Now, if that ain't Americana, then I don't know what is. I gotta get another pull off this bean dog here. Folks, just simple recipes like this can go a long ways. Just a regular old hot dog and some good old beans on it, and you got yourself a barbecue. Y'all stay safe out there. Enjoy the Memorial Day weekend. Thanks to everybody that served for this country and has laid the ultimate sacrifice down where we can have our own freedom. Cheers to them. And cheers to you. And remember, you can cook good barbecue just like I can. But there's one rule. All you got to do is get your mind right. Thanks for tuning in.